Hello, everyone. It's Dr. Manjiri Nadkarni. Today, we are on day 76 of 100 Days of Ayurveda. And that itself is a big feat. Wow, we've completed 75 days already. We're day 76. So, yay, that's a big achievement for me because it's been fun being consistent. It's been fun, trying to share Ayurveda in really simple language. And I have received a lot of feedback. I have received some amazing feedback from a lot of you. So thank you so much for your support. Hello, Uttam ji. Hello, Usha ji. Nice to see you. So once again, I'm just starting this with a lot of gratitude for everyone's support because I've received a lot of messages as well, in the past few days that I've been following your 100 days of Ayurveda and it's going really well. So thank you all. Thanks so much, really appreciate it. So today on day 76, we're going to talk about something that's really important because I am a kapha girl, right? And I kept telling myself I'm lazy because I just didn't have any energy. So before I started my holistic nutrition journey, right, when I moved to Canada, you're trying to settle down, you're trying to be busy, you're trying to, just create a life, and suddenly you don't even realize, but you start losing energy, right? And then you try everything, you start working out, you start, eating better, but again, if you're still like really deficient in energy, you end up thinking, oh, I'm just lazy, or oh, I just want a nap because I'm lazy, or I don't feel like doing anything, but I'm lazy. But sometimes the laziness is not about laziness, it's about lack of energy. And that's what exactly we're going to talk about today. So, again, if you're watching this live, you can say a quick hi. So, I know you're here. I can see Jyoti here. So, welcome, Jyoti. Thanks for catching this live. And if you have any questions, you can always, post it in the comment section. If you are watching this as a replay, you can again, say a hi. You can put a hashtag as replay. And at any given point of time, if you have questions for me about Ayurveda, I have done different series. We're on day 76. So you can go onto my Facebook page. You can also go to my YouTube channel and you can catch all the other videos. And if you want me to do specific topics, and I'll be more than happy to talk about those as well. So yeah, just comment and just tag me. Don't forget to tag me because I get a lot of messages and sometimes I end up missing those messages, and that is why I'm not as regular, right? So hi Madhu, I think it's Shweta. So hi Shweta, nice to see you. How are you doing? I've been thinking about you. So today we're going to talk about how tired is too tired, right? And I'm going to tell you why you're more tired than lazy. So under the label of laziness, then you don't have to do anything because, oh, I'm just lazy. I don't need to take any action, right? Because like laziness itself means not taking action. But if you find the reason for being tired, then you can be more proactive about your health. You can take better care of yourself, right? And a lot of the times, I see moms, who are busy with kids. COVID has been an unnatural situation with everybody stuck in the house with their spouses, with their kids and everything, right? So it's been an unnatural situation. And while we love our families, sometimes, it can be a little bit overwhelming, right? So that can also make you tired. If you are a busy mom, if you're taking care of everyone, that will make you tired. If you are a busy entrepreneur, that can make you tired, but you have to make sure you're recovering well, right? So that is the other thing. So I am somebody who's getting busier by the day. I like doing too many things, I like teaching, I like helping out others, I like to do as much as I can, make the best use of my time. But I do get into too many things, right? But I take enough time to recover. And when you sleep, you're sort of, repairing and rebuilding your body, right? So one of the signs that you're too tired is that you wake up tired, right? So if you're waking up with fatigue, if you're waking up tired, there is something going on with you. If you're sleeping well, right? If you're getting a 7-hour sleep or an 8-hour sleep according to whatever your body requires, but if you wake up tired or if you're emotionally overwhelmed all the time, right, then you are extremely tired. And one of the common themes that I see is people blaming their age, right? So I see clients right from, oh, I'm getting old, and they'll be 30 or in their 30s. And then again, oh, I'm getting old, and they'll be in their 40s and 50s. And I have 82-year-olds who have tons of energy and who do all the housework around, or the yard work and stuff. So age is a misnomer. Age has nothing to do with your energy levels, right? So that's one thing. Of course, your age, energy will slightly decline after a certain age, right? Because of the vata aggravation or the vata stage of life. But if you have been active all your life, you shouldn't be extremely tired, and don't blame it on your age, right? So that's what we're going to talk about. So I'm going to say a quick hi. There is Shiv Shankar Shenoy as well. Hello, namaskar. Sheetal is here as well. Hello, Sheetal. So again, let's talk about how tired is too tired. So if you wake up tired, right, that's a sign. And every single day, if you're waking up tired, it's a sign that something's not quite right. If you're crashing in the afternoons, if you need a nap, or if you need to lie down, or if you just are sleeping for 2 3 hours, right, it is a sign you're too tired, right? If you feel like sleeping all the time, if you have no energy, if you feel overwhelmed, if you're feeling frustrated, if you're feeling anxious, if your friends arrange a party, or if your family arranges a get together and you're like, oh my god, that's more work, then you're extremely tired, right? If you just feel like your body feels empty, you're just lacking, and you're really struggling to get up, you feel like a zombie, right? So that means you're too tired as well, right? So that's what we're going to talk about, that feeling like a zombie or being addicted to caffeine, right? A lot of people rely on coffee or caffeine because they need energy. So if you are addicted to caffeine or coffee for energy, it is a sign that you are extremely tired. You have no physical energy and you're pushing yourself with coffee or caffeine. The other thing is things like Gatorade or any of those monster drinks, right? So if you're taking something, as an energy drink or some electrolyte, um, it's good to take electrolytes. Gatorade is another story, but taking electrolytes is a good thing. But if you're taking too much of those, and if you're still not seeing any benefits, right, you are extremely tired. And this fatigue and this exhaustion, this tiredness can come from several different factors. So we are going to talk about those different factors today. So the first one that can make you tired is a lot of allergies or even infections, right? So if you have any pathology going on in your body, if you have, infections, so if you have any bacterial infections, if you have fever, if you have flus, which are, allergies more than infections, but any sort of allergy or infection makes your stress, like immune system respond, right? And your immune system is busy battling your body, like the invaders, and that can make you tired, right? Even with seasonal allergies like pollen allergy, hay fever, that can make you extremely tired, because your immune system is trying to protect your body, it's working extremely hard, and suddenly your body temperature is raised as well, so you can feel extremely tired because of that. Hi Iti, nice to see you. So that's one condition, that can make you tired. If you have rhinitis, where you have a runny nose, or any kind of allergies to animal dander. So this is something that's also to be noted, that if you are reacting to animal hair, right? So I had a client this week whom I tested for food sensitivities and environmental sensitivities, and she was reacting to dog hair, right? And she was extremely tired, and she had a really good diet. She had lots of, nutrients in her diet. She was eating 3 times a day. So everything was fine, but she just felt drained and fatigued. And that was because she had quite a few environmental allergies. She was reacting to the dog. She had dust allergies as well. So those are, a few things that can cause you to be fatigued. If you are reacting to dust and your house is really dusty, you are going to be tired. If you have hay fever, or if you're battling any kind of infection, including any kind of UTIs and stuff, you are going to be tired. Your infections, pretty much any kind of infections, your body is battling it. So you are going to be tired, right? Then we talk about anemia, right? So sometimes you're not making enough red blood cells, which have hemoglobin that helps oxygenation or carry oxygen throughout your body. So anemia could be caused by different things, if you are lacking in iron, right? So iron deficiency is one of the most common kinds of anemia in women, and especially when we see women who are bleeding heavily around their period time or in their menstrual cycle, right? So if you have an extremely heavy cycle, you will lose a lot of iron in forms of blood. Other kinds or other ways that you could lose some blood is, if you have any kind of ulcers, or if you have any issues with your bowel where you have, bleeding issues or colitis, and Those are some causes where you can actually lose blood in your bowels, right? Or if you've had some kind of trauma and you've lost a lot of blood, that could also lead to iron deficiency, right? But for women, one of the most causes that I see is menstrual related, and having low levels of iron in your blood is going to create heavy menstruation. So it is kind of counteractive, right? Or counterintuitive, but that is what happens. When you have low amounts of iron, you bleed heavily. And because you're having a heavy bleeding, then the iron further depletes. So it's like a vicious cycle. And also something like hair loss, if you have extreme hair loss, you're trying everything, nothing seems to work, start supplementing with iron. Of course, talk to your practitioners, work with your doctors, always get tested, right, before you try supplementation. But that could be one cause. B12 is a vitamin, right? So B12 is known as anti-fatigue vitamin. So if you are lacking in B12, or if you're lacking in folic acid, that could also create anemic conditions in your body, and you could be tired, right? So anemia is the second sign or a second condition where you're tired. Hi Darshana, nice to see you. Hi Sanika, nice to see you. So B12, is found in fermented foods. If you have a healthy gut bacteria, you can actually make some B12 in your body. But if you're not having healthy bacteria, if you are lacking in these raw nutrients that are needed to give you energy, right? Even if you have B complex deficiencies, not just anemia, but if you are under a lot of stress, which I'm going to talk about later a little bit, but if you have lots of stress in your life, emotional stress, lots of anxiety or something, and these are going to deplete your B vitamins, right? So anemia or any nutritional deficiencies can also lead you to be fatigued, right? So a B complex, or starting with, iron or B12, folic acid, it's always great to get tested. So do get tested, right? And if you haven't had a physical examination with your family doctor, especially in Canada, I know you have to schedule it every year or every 2 years if you're extremely healthy, but I prefer getting everything checked at least once a year. So if you haven't seen your family doctor in some time, it is a good idea to set up an appointment and get some blood tested, right? You want to make sure you have enough hemoglobin. You want to make sure you have enough B12. You can also get vitamin D checked. You have to pay extra $25, I think, for it, which is still not too bad. So, but get vitamin D checked as well, right? So these are a few things that could make you tired. Hi, Mary Ellis. Nice to see you. The third thing that I see very common in my practice is autoimmune conditions, right? So when we talk about rheumatoid arthritis or Hashimoto's or any other autoimmune conditions, I do work quite a bit with autoimmune health conditions, right? So when I see people dealing with autoimmune health conditions, your own body cells are triggering a reaction against your own body cells and destroying them. That also leads to excessive fatigue, right? So sometimes women have a hard time waking up, or they just want to lie down. They have really low energy. When I was talking about infections, I'm going to go back to part one again. So even things like Lyme infection, right? So if you look at chronic infections like Lyme, which is not addressed very much, in like it still doesn't have as much education around it, but Lyme can severely impact your energy levels and really drain you, right? So, and most times it's not found in the testing. So you're doing all the testing and you don't find anything, but you're tired and you just end up being a lot more tired, right? So that is something to keep in mind. The same with autoimmune conditions, So sometimes one parameter is high, one parameter is normal. Sometimes they don't find anything in the blood work, but when you have an overwhelmed immune system that's battling against your own cells, you are going to be extremely tired. So autoimmune conditions were number 3 of what can make you tired. Fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, is another condition where you could have a lot of muscle pain, joint pain, and you're constantly fatigued, right? So not many people know the causes of fibromyalgia or chronic fatigue. Some suspect it has to do with some kind of viral infection. Some suspect it has more to do with fungus or mold. So the etiology is not as specific, but chronic fatigue or fibromyalgia, where you have pain in several different regions, right, is also another cause where your body is overwhelmed and you're extremely exhausted and fatigued. The fifth one is something I work with a lot, right? So the fifth one that I'm going to talk about is food allergies and intolerances, right? So certain foods like lactose intolerant, you could be deficient in lactose, you're not breaking down you're deficient in lactase, which is the enzyme that breaks down. Uh, I was talking, sorry, Shiv Shankar, I was talking about Lyme disease, Lyme. I'm going to type it in the chat here. So Lyme is not as easy to detect. So I'm just typing it in the chat. You can check the chat. So sorry, going back to the fifth factor. So food allergies and intolerances. One of the biggest signs that I see in my practice is if you eat something and you constantly feel drained after eating it. This is very common with wheat or milk or dairy, right? Any kind of dairy products or even wheat. So if you have bread and you're just like, oh my God, I don't have any energy, right? If you are having milk products, like you drink a glass of milk and you feel like, just dozing off on the dinner table, right? So those are a signs that, your body is not digesting anything well, right? Or if you are really struggling with digestion too, your entire circulation just goes and tries to digest the food, and you start feeling drowsy and extremely tired, right? So food allergies, so get tested again. That's the one thing I tell most people that I work with is get tested for food allergies. It is simple, it's an easy testing, it is something that's only going to help you, because if you're constantly eating the foods that are impacting your body, right, that are creating pathology in your body, or that are making you overwhelmed, that are pushing your body in a not so good way, that are making you tired, that are creating these digestive issues. And then on the other hand, no matter how many supplements you're taking, you're kind of working counterintuitively, right? So any food sensitivities, any food allergies, if you suspect you're reacting to wheat or milk or yogurt, cheeses, right? Soy products are very common. Corn is extremely common. I see people react to shellfish, soy, tofu, tempeh can also be there. Food colorings are extremely common as well. Sugar, right? So sugar is one of the extreme common things that people react to as well. Sugar makes people hyper and then they crash, right? And I have done a series on sugar for the past 2 weeks, so you can always go back and check out those videos too. So food allergies, food intolerances are the number 5 reason that could make you extremely tired and fatigued, right? Then the sixth one is heart disease. If you have any cardiac conditions, if you have a family history of heart disease, or if you have any functional problems in the heart, if your heart is not pumping well, you could start getting extremely tired. And this typically manifests as, fatigue on exertion, right? So if you're even walking up the stairs and you feel like you're breathless, right? So breathlessness on exertion is one common sign. So if you get tired and you can't hardly breathe and you're like, oh, I'm catching a breath, even to walk the stairs in your home, get it checked, right? So go to your doctor, just get it tested and figure out, try to figure out what's causing the fatigue. The number 7 condition where people experience a lot of fatigue is thyroid conditions, right? We have spoken about different thyroid conditions again in the videos. So I've covered diabetes before, I've covered thyroid before. You can always go and check out those videos. But having a low functioning thyroid is going to make you fatigued, not just physically, but also mentally, right? So thyroid is going to cause lowered body temperature. It is going to impact your cellular metabolism. You're not going to produce as much energy. You're also not going to have a lot of focus, right? So you're going to struggle with focus, concentration. You're going to struggle with energy. And that is why getting your thyroid checked is important. A lot of the times, thyroid, you could be within the numbers when you do the blood test, but you could have all the symptoms of thyroid. And that is why getting your body temperature test done or basal body temperature test done is extremely important when it comes to thyroid conditions, right? So if you want to know more about it, you can feel free to just message me and I'll tell you more about it. But I have spoken about it in the previous videos on hypothyroid, so you can also follow that. Diabetes is another sign, right? Or another condition where you could be extremely fatigued, right? So what happens with diabetes is that you have extreme hunger and thirst, right? So you're eating a lot, you're losing like a lot of sugar through your urine because your body cannot function well or produce well insulin, which is going to, take that sugar and use it up in your cells. And that can make you extremely tired. So sometimes you could lose excess weight, right? um, most times you gain a lot of weight, and this can create a lot of sluggishness, this can create a lot of fatigue, and excess sugar also creates a lot of oxidative damage in the body. So if you have heart conditions and if you have diabetes, the heart condition could get worsened because of the diabetes, right? All your cell linings, or sorry, all your artery linings or the capillary linings, could get easily damaged because of excessive sugar. Sugar can damage the linings and create more pathologies in your body, right? And sugar definitely impacts end arteries. So you could have issues with your kidneys, you could have issues with your eyes if you don't control your sugar, right? So blood sugar levels getting controlled is extremely important. And diabetes is another condition which could get um, you to be exhausted. Now, the number nine thing is something that everybody has experienced in the COVID phase, right? So, number nine thing is lack of sleep, right? So, one of the main factors that happened with COVID situation is people were worrying so much, they were losing sleep over it, right? And when you are not sleeping well, if you are not sleeping at the right time, so not even about not getting 8 hours, but people who have shift work, right? If you're working throughout night and in the morning, if you're trying to sleep or get some sleep, which could be required by the kind of job that you do, if you're working somewhere and you're a shift worker, you have to do the job because you need to make a living. But at the same time, you could be tired because your body is in a very unnatural situation, right? So ideally being in bed at 10 o'clock or before 10, before your pitta cycle starts, right? At 10 o'clock at night, around the time when your pitta cycle starts, you end up processing everything. So pitta is more about processing and transformation. So if you are awake past 10 o'clock, a lot of the times your mind kicks into that processing mode. Then you start thinking about everything that happened in the day and you can no longer go to sleep, right? So that's why it's extremely important to get sleep at the right time. If you're sleeping in the day, then you lose sleep at the night time, right? And most times it's seen that, people who are taking afternoon naps or longer naps are not going to be able to sleep well at night. So avoid having an afternoon nap unless you are a senior or unless you really need to, right? And make sure you're having a nice sleep. It could be 6 hours for some people, it could be 7 hours for some people, it could be 8 hours for some people. So in Ayurveda, there is no one size fits all. There is no one number of sleep that everybody should be having. I know a lot of people who are, thriving with 6 or even 5 hours of sleep sometimes, right? But their nutrition balances that. So this is extremely important to understand the kind of sleep your body requires to recuperate, and that would depend on a lot of different factors. If you are extremely active, if you are someone who's working out, or if you have a job that's very physically demanding, you will require more sleep than someone who's sitting on the desk all day like me, right? So your sleep should also reflect the kind of lifestyle you have, and getting a nice sound sleep at night is extremely important for you not to feel exhausted, because sleep is when your body starts repairing itself, right? Sleep is when all your processes are going to slow down and your body will start, just comforting itself and repairing itself, right? So that is why getting sleep, a 6 hour, 7 hour, 8 hour, whatever it is that your body requires, is extremely important. So we go to the 10th factor, right? So the 10th factor is any kind of mental health conditions or mental health issues. So if you have been experiencing anxiety or depression or different conditions like bipolar, or it could be anything that's related with mental health, there are chances you are going to be fatigued, right? So a lot of the times, mental fatigue also reflects on the physical energy. And sometimes you could just be extremely emotionally fatigued and overwhelmed to be able to do anything, right? So that is something to keep in mind. So if you are anxious, if you are depressed, if you have any other, issues going on in your life or stressful situations going on in your life, that itself will make you extremely tired and exhausted. So you have to take into account what's going on, and whether it's anxiety or depression, a lot of food triggers can cause it too. Coffee or caffeine is a common trigger for anxiety. Pop or high sugar is a common trigger for anxiety, right? For depression, certain foods, if you're having what we call a lot of tamasic foods, that can also make you feel lethargic. It could make you feel depressed as well, or just lack of motivation could also be there. So always, try to figure out what you're eating and is it impacting your mental health, right? And that's the 10th piece, that is the mental health issues, anxiety or depression. So we have discussed 10 different causes that could lead to fatigue or exhaustion. I'm just going to list them once again. So we talked about allergies, we talked about any kind of infections, we talked about anemia, specifically not having enough iron, B12, folic acid. We also talked a bit about B complex deficiencies, vitamin D deficiencies, so any kind of deficiencies. Autoimmune conditions was the third one. Chronic fatigue or fibromyalgia was the fourth one. Any food allergies, intolerances were the fifth one. Heart conditions, right, was the sixth one. Thyroid issues, hypothyroidism was the seventh one. Diabetes was the eighth one. Sleep or the lack of sleep mainly, right, was the ninth one. And mental health issues like anxiety or depression are the 10th one, right? So I was going to talk about, 3 points. We were on the second point, we finished that. So the third point is, how do you combat fatigue and exhaustion, right? So again, the one answer that I give for everything is, whether you want to lose weight or whether you want to gain more energy, you always have to look at the causative factor in you that's causing it, right? So if you are having low amounts of iron or B12, or if you think you have any deficiencies, get it checked, right? If you're having food allergies, get it checked. If you have diabetes, try to see what your blood sugar is at, get it controlled. If you have a heart condition or a history of heart disease, get that checked as well. So once you figure out the root cause of your fatigue, it's going to help you to understand why you're fatigued, right? And most conditions, hormonal conditions, they can impact your stress glands. So there is another common piece called adrenal fatigue or adrenal exhaustion, where you go through long periods of stress, and this is extremely common in what we call PTSD, right? So anybody going through long periods of stress or post-traumatic syndromes, a stress disorder, you could also have constant firing of your stress glands, which ends up making you really tired and fatigued, right? And this is not recognized as a medical condition by medical doctors, but you can definitely see a pattern in the cortisol, where your cortisol is high initially and then cortisol ends up being extremely low, and that it's going to impact your body's function as well. So the one thing is always, get it checked, right? So always get the deficiencies checked. Change your diet. If you're eating a lot of junk, if you're eating, fast food constantly, if you're eating foods that are devoid of nutrients, change your diet, adding more greens to your diet, adding more fresh fruits to your diet, fresh vegetables to your diet, is going to really help you. Simple thing that can help is also exercising, right? So unless you're extremely exhausted, if you are having a lot of physical exhaustion and you don't have the energy to exercise, something like yoga is going to be really beneficial, right? Because yoga is about body mind integration, and you can do simple asanas where you can use your, physical body. You can do downward dog, or you could do something as simple as child's pose, or even like the corpse pose or shavasana, where you're actually resting, but you're being conscious of your body and you're breathing into each and every part of your body, right? So yoga is a fantastic tool. I often advocate yoga to most of my clients, so something like simple yogasanas every single day, breathing, alternate nostril breathing is fantastic because it really centers and grounds you. and it is going to help kind of balance your right brain and left brain, and it's also going to help balance your stress response on the body, right? So Nadi Shodhan Pranayam, alternate nostril breathing, is also fantastic when it comes to stress management because it's going to help energize you as well. When you breathe right, you're oxygenating yourself and you are also getting more energy, right? So that's the other part. And then sleep. So sleep is another factor. So you have to make sure you're sleeping well, you're sleeping at the right time, and you're not oversleeping, because sometimes, if you spend 12 hours in bed, then you wake up feeling tired and groggy, right? And then it's not helping you. So be mindful of what's causing you to lose energy, and that will help you gain a little bit more energy. Now, one strategy that I can give each and every one of you is to rate yourself on a level of 1 to 10 every single day, right? So when you wake up, you have to just tap into yourself and see that, okay, do I feel fresh on waking up? Am I waking up refreshed, or am I waking up tired, right? So waking up refreshed is a sign of health. And that's what Ayurveda says, right? So when you wake up, you have to feel refreshed. That's a sign that something's right in your body. If you wake up tired, that itself is a sign something's wrong with your body, right? So once you wake up, try to see if you're waking up refreshed and give yourself a number between 1 to 10. If 1 is the least amount of energy you have and 10 is the highest amount of energy you have, for a few days, track your energy on a day to day basis, in the morning, afternoon, and night or evening, and see where you are. So that will give you a clear indication of how fatigued you are. If you experience an energy of 5 or below constantly, whether it's morning, afternoon, or night, you are really exhausted, right? But if you are having a really good energy in the morning, and as soon as you have dinner, you just like feel exhausted, right? Then it might be that you had too much, have had a really big meal, right? And you're not digesting it well. So then you need to change certain patterns, right? So this is all for today. I hope you liked the video. Do you have any questions for me today? So if you have any questions for me, you feel free to just post it in the chat, right? But try to be mindful. Again, when it's extremely hot outside, that is going to create a lot of fatigue in you, because the sun is if the sun is too harsh, you're sweating a lot, you're losing minerals, that is also going to cause fatigue. So I talked about 10, but there are probably 10 more causes why you can be fatigued, right? So if you are feeling extremely tired, try to figure out what's the main cause, right? What is the cause of your fatigue? Try to grade yourself, on a scale of 1 to 10, and make sure that as you start working towards your health, your energy levels start boosting up, right? So if you start with an energy level of 5, if you start changing your diet, if you start exercising, if you start incorporating more greens or sleeping well, right? In a week or two, you should start noticing slightly higher amounts of energy. If you have any serious conditions, autoimmune conditions, heart diseases, or anything, please make sure you're working with a qualified practitioner who can really support your journey, right? And help you with that. So thank you once again. Thank you, Uttamji. Thank you, Ushaji. Thanks, Mary Alice. Thank you, Shiv Shankar. Thanks, Iti. Thank you for watching this live. I will be back tomorrow. So tomorrow's topic is going to be hydration. We're going to talk about water and water intake, and it's extremely hot. Like, not today was pretty hot too. Yesterday, day before was just unbearable. So when you are experiencing that much heat, we need to talk about hydration. What are some minerals that you require? What are some good ways to hydrate? How much water do you need? So I'll be talking about that tomorrow at 8 o'clock. This Saturday in my Facebook group, Ayurveda for Health and Happiness, I have 2 different events. So there is a bonus training that I was offering, or I had promised to offer, when the group hit 1,111 members. We are way beyond that. So I think we are at about 1,300 something right now. Okay, I'm just going to post this right here. Yeah, so I think 12 or how many members? Yeah, 1,321 members in the Facebook group. So it's growing really well. So, yeah, so in the Facebook group, there's a training this Saturday, which is about menopause and weight gain, right? So it's specifically for women who are going through menopause. And we're going to talk about what are some causes of weight gain and how to manage your weight gain. So that will happen on YouTube. Again, subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can see. um, yeah, so you can see any of those videos. You can go back and watch any of the videos that you missed, and any of the events that are taking place either on my Facebook page or my Facebook group. So 11 o'clock we'll be talking about women's health, specifically menopause and weight gain. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I have a guest speaker who's going to talk about doshas and your emotions. So I have Dr. Manjot Garcha from Australia, and she's going to join us in Ayurveda for Health and Happiness. And she's going to talk about your doshas and emotions and how different emotions relate to different doshas, for Vata, Pitta, Kapha, and how to have stress free emotions. So that's what she's going to be discussing this Saturday. For any of you who are Ayurvedic practitioners, so if you are an Ayurvedic doctor, if you are an Ayurvedic practitioner, if you are somebody who is looking to grow your Ayurvedic practice, um, I have something special for you. So tomorrow I'm going to be hosting a 90-minute training on how to build a successful Ayurvedic practice. And that is one of my favorite offerings. And I've been thinking about it for a long time. It is something that a lot of my friends and colleagues were demanding. They were like, okay, teach us social media, teach us about this, teach us about that. So, how do you manage to be on Facebook, or how do you manage to, create a community, when you're on Facebook? So I am going to be sharing a lot of my secrets. I'm going to be sharing a lot of, my experience. Have I started Ayurvedic practice? Have I built it? Sarnia is a smaller town. So when I started, it was about 70,000 population, relatively unfamiliar with Ayurveda. And I'm super excited to be able to share things, and grow it. So I'm going to share my own ideas. I'm going to share my own secrets, what has helped me this far build a practice. Again, it's a free webinar for all Ayurvedic doctors, practitioners, whether you're practicing, whether you're planning a practice, whether you have a good practice, but you're looking for more. I will be more than happy to, help you out. And if you learn from my experiences, that's fantastic. So I have posted all the links in the chat. So if you are a practitioner or a doctor, feel free to join us tomorrow. It is an interactive webinar. So once I finish the webinar, you're most welcome to ask me any questions. And I'm really looking forward to it. It's pretty exciting. This is the first time I'm talking about Ayurveda and the business aspect, which is something I had to learn and really build on. Yeah, so I'm super excited about it. So thank you once again. Thank you all for watching this live. I will see you tomorrow, either in the webinar, or I will see you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock when we talk about hydration. Till then, have a fantastic time, manage your energy, right? And we have time that we talk about in terms of importance, right? We talk about, wasted time doesn't come back, but also remember that we have limited amounts of energy, right? And that is why always do things that add value to your life. So this is something that I have been embracing, for the past 1 year, really focusing on connecting with people, connecting with ideas, or even doing things that I absolutely love, right? I don't like wasting my time or my energy on things I don't enjoy or I don't like anymore. So that's something to remember as well. Your energy is as precious as your time is. Don't waste it on things that don't matter. Don't waste a lot of mental energy on social media unless you're looking at constructive things, or watching my videos on health, because that's helping you. But don't compare, don't get into comparisonitis, or don't fall into the social media trap, or don't fall into the media traps of whatever events happen, and sometimes there could be a lot of conflict outside in the world, right? So you have to manage your energy accordingly. If you're already struggling with low energy, the good idea is to also limit your access to television or internet or whatever crime things are happening, right? So that is how you can take better care of your energy, right? So you all have a fantastic night. Namaste, everyone. And I will see you all tomorrow. Till then, have a fantastic night and bye bye for now.